and it's intense, and it's exhausting and intimidating. And every year I'm like, maybe I'll sit this one out, and then I just can't do it. It all started with this one. Stopped drawing for about 10 years, and you can imagine if you've been drawing since you were 2 years old, and then to just stop drawing. Hello, you beautiful haunted romantics. Welcome back. Today, I wanted to go over a past sketchbook. This one is a very special one for me. Some of the pages were taken out because it's so special that they had been used for other things, but I have alluded to some artistic droughts that I had. None was bigger than when I stopped drawing for about 10 years. And you can imagine if you've been drawing since you were 2 years old, and then to just stop drawing, I was pursuing other stuff. I was very deeply into the acting, which was, I wouldn't trade a day of that back. But there were 10 years where I was acting and not drawing, and I was just completely going into this, almost this more extroverted place, which was really great. I think that it completed a side of me that was lacking and was very hungry and needed to just get out there and share itself. And I think the best way to put it is, I didn't want to make the art step aside and show it to people. I wanted to be in it. I wanted to be on the stage, being the character in the picture. I wanted to be in the film or in the TV show. I wanted to be in the image. And it was so much fun. And now there's almost like this hybrid I get to do as I do these pieces, the voiceovers, this channel. And I'm not sure exactly what this is, and part of me honestly wants to be in this place forever. I don't want certainty. I don't want much certainty. But anyways, that all changed when I suddenly partook in a drawing challenge, the famous Inktober that the artists of the world do every October. 31 days, 31 prompts, and you have to post every prompt that you do. If you don't, the world or everyone who follows your various social media, Instagram was really the mainstay of Inktober, at least back in the day. If you don't do it, then everyone knows you blew it. So it kind of makes you work. I alluded in a previous video about deadlines being this kind of savior to get me back into art. And that was really what happened. Every day I had a deadline for a month. And this was at a time of great upheaval in my life. And I was in a new town, and I was starting a new chapter. Everything was totally up in the air. I was feeling out where I wanted to live. And in that time, I started to hike. I started to sketch from nature. I was doing references, and it was unlocking the ease of art. The point was, and I think anyone who maybe is in a similar boat than that, or wants to just do some drawing for the first time, get a little one, get a little book. The first one I had was even smaller than this. It would fit in my back pocket. And it was very hard for me to fill that one. I still can't believe how difficult it was to get all those pages done and mailed in to the Brooklyn Sketchbook Library. And it was not a very, it was kind of a haphazard, not very worked on sketchbook. And now I fill them. I have no problem filling them. I mean, I've got all these here, for instance, and I've got others that are a normal size, a 9x12. I have so many of those filled, and so I'm just sketching and sketching. But this was the first Inktober that I did, and I would have several others. But I remember I started just. I I would go year after year. I think since 2011 or something, or 2012, 2009. I think it started in 2009. But I remember hearing about it and seeing it and just thinking, that would be great. Because I was in the thick of not drawing, and I was like, how great would that be if at the end of the month you look back and you see 31 drawings that you did in ink? And I got to do that sometime. Next year I'm doing that. Next year rolls by, nothing happens. Oh, man. Well, next year, same thing. And then it's one of those things, when you're ready, you're ready. And I did it, and it was really beautiful to reconnect with that side of me. And that goes to the heart of why you should draw, why you should keep going. This is if you want to draw. But you don't know what's on the other side. You don't know who that guy is, or girl, if you're a girl, but you don't know who that is on the other side of those 31 drawings looking back at what was done. And the way that you get to know them is what happened to me, is every day you learn a little something that you didn't know. You surprise yourself. And that is profound. And so I thought, we could just go through some of the pages in here. And one of the things I love about looking at this first one is it's raw, it's crude. I am endeavoring to fill the page and tell a story. And also, another thing that is really inspiring me to make all these vlog videos, let it all hang out, see what happens, and just see what I find. It's taking me back to that first Inktober, to that first 31-day challenge. I've done those pretty much every year in some capacity or other, and it's all been to prove something to myself. Now I'm doing these October challenges, and they're with paint, they're with color, and they're bigger, and they take several days to do, and it's intense, and it's exhausting and intimidating. And every year I'm like, maybe I'll sit this one out, and then I just can't do it. And it all started with this one, and I'm always trying to keep that challenge going. And what I want to do with this is I just want to make a lot of these, just keep tweaking where I can, keep improving where I can, but make sure to keep doing them. Don't get into perfectionism, just get them done. And who knows, my friend, comrade, you're watching this. Maybe this video won't be around. Maybe I just go, oh my God, these videos I'm doing are so much better than this one. I'm going to delete this one. And well, you got to see it. Others didn't. Who knows? But the spirit of these deadlines lives on in this vlog. And that is profoundly exciting. And how poignant to join these two together in this video. So I think I'll just swing around here, and I think let's see what happens here. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn this off. Bye, guys. So this is very special. I had started this video with this one at first, and then I'm going through it, and I'm like, oh no, this is the year after. But yeah, this is the one that started it all. This is the one that got me back into drawing. And I think the moral of the story, the inspiring thing, is how easy it can be if you just stick to it and you keep doing it. It's what I'm learning with these vlog videos, which you are witnessing right now, and I thank you very much. Okay, so I don't want to dwell too much on these, but we'll see how this goes. So this was not the first page in here. This whole challenge of 31 prompts started with some other pieces, but they have since been removed, either to be sold or they are in some other thing that I need to root around to find them. But nevertheless, I think the same takeaways regardless. But this, I think, was number 3 or 4 in the challenge, and I'm really getting into exploring this theme of gaslights and ghosts and things. And you can see here that she is looking over this edge and she is thinking about him. And he's actually transparent. So I'm working with all these different types of techniques. There's cross-hatching. And this is really interesting, actually, revisiting this, because I would soon start to get rid of cross-hatching. And I only wanted to do hatching because I feel that hatching just tends to look cleaner. And I felt like it would make me think more about what I was doing. Whereas cross-hatching, I felt it gives you a nice shadow and a nice contrast between light and dark. But I do feel like it's a little messy. It gets a little messy. So you got to kind of know what you're doing. I have since kind of changed that because I did want to work with light and shadow. But yeah. And then this one was just kind of like another, just free flow. I just had this idea of a man sitting, and then I gave him like this suit. I gave him a bowler. And then I wanted to do upholstery that he's sitting in there. And then I was like, hey, I'll make it a train. And I've got it's almost like the blur of a moving landscape by doing this different technique. He's got cross-hatching here, but then it was this really neat kind of, blurring of the scenery by doing this technique. And of course, you've got the chain moving. So it kind of gives you the sense that this is in motion. And I remember I wrote this little story of someone looking into this train car and seeing this lonely man. And it was from their perspective, what they think of him, how sad he was. And then this one. And you'll see all of these have stories. They all have a visual story to them. I'm telling a story here. And this poet is basically dying, and he's propped up with all these pillows, and you can see that it's fall, and this old lady who's been taking care of him, and she's being so kind, and she's sad that she's losing him, and she's got all this stuff where she's, you can see that she's been trying to take care of him. And I thought it was very all of these made me cry. I think it was such a catharsis that each of these were making me really emotional. And then this one was this kind of almost like this glam, like an old school, like a flapper girl or a call girl. And she's reading a letter from an admirer and kind of over the whole thing and over being admired all the time. And that was really fun too. I would just have this image in my head and I would just draw a character and then I would just not need much else than that for a story to come up. It was really, really fun. And I didn't know what was going to happen. They were all so different. And then this one, I was playing with lighting, dark and shadow, and I'm a real fan of how this one turned out. I think of the ones I've shown, this one just really, I was very proud of this. And this was this kind of, I wanted to play with lighting on this. And then I don't know why I had put this other gas lamp here. And they're both in the woods, which is just kind of really strange. But the story was that there's always one that is on, and the other one is just never. It's always dark near that one. And it's just kind of like a nice little spooky story there. And all of these were, I don't know, maybe like a paragraph. They're on my Instagram if you want to find them. You can scroll down to 2015. October 2015, and you can just read all those little stories. And I love this one because I was just really losing myself in the revelry of October. I was just really enjoying it. And so my mind was just going crazy every day, and I was trying to outdo myself. And already I feel like this is getting kind of effortless to just tell a visual story, and there's just so much joy in this one. I love it. It's like kind of how I feel whenever I see a big pumpkin. not proportionately like the size of this to this girl, but this one was, it was basically a memory of a grown-up woman, and she's always thinking about that first, pumpkin. It was like her first love almost. And, oh yeah, and got to do a scarecrow. This was actually, I drew this remembering a scarecrow costume that I put together many years ago that I was very proud of, and I'd found this hat. It was like a woman's hat, and then I saw it as the farmer needed a hat, and so he got his wife's old hat and he puts it on there, and it just gives this kind of character. But I really just love, I'm doing some. It's actually, I think, pretty much all hatching. Well, there's some cross hatching here, but you can see I'm really getting minimal with the cross hatching, because I think if you just make hatching your main choice, you just get such wonderful textures. And like this I really got into when you just kind of do these. It's not cross hatching, it's hatching, but it's almost like weaving or something. A weave, something like that. But yeah, I love that scarecrow, and just the sky and the way the mist or the clouds are kind of moving through. It's, yeah, wonderful. And here was yet another technique. I remember I was actually, I had this little job I was experimenting with as a door-to-door salesman, and I was, basically selling subscriptions to get a box of organic food delivered to your doorstep or whatever. And this day, one of the things that's so great about doing a challenge like this day in, like day after day, is not only do you get better each day, but you're also, it's almost like the stories or the images just start coming to you. It's like the muse understands that you are now an open conduit to the things that she wants to say. And it's just the best feeling. And I just remember I just had this image in my head, and we got this salesman, and he's picking up his papers, and this old lady is walking off, and I just kind of kept drawing, and I started like seeing this story more and more. Another thing is there's a totally different technique. I started using more dippling or pointillism, where you just kind of use the point, and it's not really about lines. I kind of made the effective lines, but it was something all on its own. And yeah, it was pretty exciting. Every day I didn't know what was going to happen. Oh, and this one I wanted to do kind of a Death and the Maiden type of thing. And yeah, this was really fun. And it was just, I love how it's just non-linear, and which is kind of terrifying for me when I'm doing ink. I guess I should do that more or something. But I love, you just get a beautiful woman with a skeleton. It's just such a striking image. Never gets old. But I think that this one is a very interesting, compelling piece. And another thing is I'd be posting these each day, and I have to really give it up to social media, because each time I'd be posting, and I'd be getting someone who says, "This, I think, is my favorite." And you never know what it's going to be, who's going to say it. But it really served to remind me that art is in the eye of the beholder, and people are just going to like what they like. We're all different. We're all seeing what we see, hear what we hear, and that's just beautiful. So, oh yeah, I love this one. This one is, it is almost perfect. Almost perfect. I did this one, and I just thought, wow, wait, I'm less rusty than I think I am. But this was basically about kind of a love story of a couple. And at first I was just drawing this because I just loved the image of it. It's almost like a Charlie Brown or Peanuts thing, you know? But I was fast forwarding to these two remembering when they first met. And, you know, she notices his trembling hands and he's scared of her mask. And yeah, I think this one is just it's just charming. I love this one. And of course, I got the little reference of the gas lamp here. So it's cool. And I love how she's like made him drop his bag of candy. It's just little touches there, and they just, yeah. That's what I mean by like you know, you never know where these are coming. This is an interesting one. I remember I think I did it and didn't want to share it because I didn't like it. And then I think a few days later I shared it, and I just believed that other people would like it because I was starting to see that I was seeing something different than what other people were seeing. So I shared it. And then I remember I had just some amazing comments about it, that it just reminded people, the story reminded people of, you know, a loved one who had passed who actually happened to have the same name as the loved one who had passed in the story. I mean, it was just profound. I was very humbled and honored that these kinds of things were happening. And then this one, we've got this guy, and he is writing. And this was kind of meta, you know. I was writing a story, and I'm kind of dealing with all these unseen forces, and then there's like this ghost there in the window, but he's hearing this howling wind, and I love this here. I love this effect. It's just like a few lines, but you see there's a candle in this lantern. And then that candle is throwing all this light on his coat. And it's throwing light here, it's throwing light here, it's throwing light on his face. So here I'm really experimenting with how elegant can I be? How can I tell a story of light and shadow without cross-hatching? There is next to no cross-hatching here. There is like a little bit here, but look at that. I'm finding a way to do it and really tell a story of light with only hatching. It's pretty awesome there. And then, let's see. This one was probably my most hasty one. I remember I didn't have much time. And honestly, I was like brain dead. And I didn't quite know what I was going to do. And I just had this image. And I definitely needed to work on the characters more. But I was definitely getting into what I could do with just hatching. But sometimes you need to do this to, you know, figure out the next things you do. This was pretty ambitious. I had this idea that I wanted to do like a slightly different technique every day. So this one I wanted to do pretty much all vertical lines and see what I could get. And the idea was I would set this one in a bathtub so that I could maybe use this as an effect of haziness and steaminess. And I think it really gave a sense of the what was happening. I think it really gave a nice mood there. I think it did what I wanted it to do, and I really feel like I feel the steam in this one. I think it's actually, I'm pretty impressed by that. And then this one, I don't really remember much of the story, but I think I wanted to work with trees and experiment with, I think I saw some trees in like the park or something, and I snapped a picture. And then I thought, hey, you can have this cute touch, and boom, I've got a Halloween thing. And but yeah, so pretty fun. You know, I was playing with light and shadow, obviously there. But this was so much fun. Oh, and then I got more trees. I think the first one inspired this one. This was actually a story about my dad. When he was little, he went off and he went hunting with his bow and arrow, and his mother had no idea where he was. She calls the police, and then he comes out of the woods around 3 or 4 p.m. and with his little bow and arrow, and he had been quote unquote hunting. He had no idea that she was worried sick or that the authorities were called. And she said, "I didn't know whether to hug him or to hit him." But that's a nice little story of my dad there. And then this one, I was doing kind of an ossuary, and it was kind of inspired by one of my favorite movies, Cemetery Man, or Della Morte dell'Amore is the actual name. It's an Italian horror film. But, got to just kind of play with mood. And I got more into the cross-hatching here because, I really wanted to go with light and shadow and then get darker shadow and darker shadow. So, and then this one, this was fun. I really wanted to make a locomotive, and this was a bit of reference and definitely some hatching. But yeah, it was a fun little story there, and it was one of those things I just didn't think it was going to turn out as well as I thought. I feel like I can feel its motion, and I can feel the smoke all around it. And yeah, it was a fun little ghost story. This was probably my my least worked on. I remember when I did this, I was like, man, it would be better if I had just not done anything that day. But yeah, this was based on a girl I knew who just used to walk around naked all the time, and just she'd be sitting in front of her window, and I remember asking her if she felt self-conscious of it or something, and she would just kind of be in the curtains. It was just kind of this oddly beautiful thing that I think only an artist would be into. Everyone else would be like, yeah, that's a weird person. But yeah, so funny seeing this. There's not much I could have done, because one thing I want to say is I really learned that inking benefits from planning. And this one, I wasn't sure the technique, and I was playing with different techniques. And this was one of those things where I was like, okay, some techniques aren't for you, some techniques are for you, and some techniques aren't for you, but if you really work at them, they can be. And this was one of those where I'm like, if I really work on this, it can be, but why would I want to? I'm not into this. So yeah, kind of fun. Wow, I haven't seen that in a while. And then this one, I think I was in Savannah now. I was in Savannah, Georgia. And I got to see fireflies, and I was really playing with light here. I was really going dark too, because I was playing with what that brings out in the light, which was pretty fun. And then this one, this was fun. I remember I was in it was in some kind of thrift shop on the East Coast, or in Georgia, I believe. And I saw this was kind of on a plate. And I remember I took a picture, and then I was like, I'm going to go home and recreate that inking. Old school inking. I want to play with it. And remember I did that, and then I think I posted this, and then someone said, oh, this reminds me of an old sailing shanty. And then I remember they just wrote the whole thing on there in the comment, and it was really charming, that little song. And just those things that happens because you decided to have the presence of mind to draw it, create it, post it, and share it with the world, and see what the world gives back to you. I'm definitely in Savannah here, because this one I was inspired by the historic district. I think that's what it's called. But you've not seen anything quite like colonial Southern towns, because there are none. Sherman burnt them all down, except he spared Savannah. But yeah, this one, it's a very haunted place. You really feel like there's a ghost on every corner. And I swear there was like someone kind of following me that night. And once I got home, and I was kind of relieved, but I remember I did this piece. And I really liked how the light just kind of came. And I was experimenting with how to make her transparent. And yeah, still in Savannah. I am obviously inspired by all the Spanish moss. And of course in Savannah, you don't want to touch that moss. Here we have all that same lichen, but you can take it off and it just feels like this cool, graceful, elegant, ghostly rubber stuff. But over there, that stuff will be full of chiggers and they'll just like bite you, light you up like a Christmas tree, as one guide told us. And then this one, I don't know what this was, but never really happened. Yeah, never really did. Oh yeah, I love this one. This was a little girl with having a tea party with her Halloween skeleton, and then we're in like this kind of like beads, almost like Mardi Gras here, but she's having a whole tea party. And it was just kind of a fun story to write because it was all kind of dialogue between the two. I remember someone wanted to turn it into their demo reel where they would just play both voices because they just loved the dialogue. It was fun. And then, let's see. Oh, I love this one too. Yeah, these are some loose ones. Yeah, so this one was all about a guy. He's become like a big chef now, but he's remembering that first kitchen where he got inspired. And he's talking about all the smells, the cinnamon, the apples. I love this one. Simple, it tells a lot, you feel a lot, and it just makes you smile. It's a beauty. And here I was looking to do a reference of a forest, and then I put a figure in at the end, and then it just became a story of someone appreciating this place they can always come back to no matter what's happening in the world. And this was one of those where I had these people that commented on it and they were just beside themselves. Like it just took them to this forest that meant something to them, where they felt like they were transported and they could feel the sunlight going through these huge trees and in the canopy, and this breezy summer day or something. And all from this little sketch and sharing it, giving people the opportunity to feel something, connect. That's what it's all about. And this was a very triumphant day. This was kind of ambitious. I was ending the challenge, I believe. This was, I think, the last one. And I really wanted to do a reference and work with light and shadow. And I threw these three figures in. We've got these trick-or-treaters, and then I had this kind of spinster, I guess, where every Halloween she is a mother. She cares about all the kids that she knows she's going to see. She knows them through the years, and it means so much for her to make them happy and give them treats and things like that, and she loves seeing them have fun. And it was a touching story. But I was very proud of not only what happened, but this piece and how it came together. I really loved how the shadows and the light and all the trees, it all worked together. Even got all the leaves of fall in there. And then, of course, I got the gas lamp. So yeah, that is this amazing book. Amazing. This really was a breakthrough for me. And yeah. So anyway, that is That is the book, the sketchbook that brought me back, that proved to me that I could accomplish this, that I could make deadlines, and that I could see things through to the end and not quit. And if you have an experience like that, I mean, it's really important to hold close to your heart. And maybe you want to share it in the comments. I don't know. But I hope you enjoyed this. You'll see it kind of doesn't, all I needed to do was every day do another drawing. And if you want to add more challenges, like, can I do something? Can I do a different technique than the one before? Can I do it better than the one before? What is better? What does that even mean? And some days, I should point out, some days it was all about the little story that I wrote, and then the art was like, meh. Other days, the art was great, and the story was pretty good. It's a beautiful thing to be that busy and to have that kind of project. Anyway, I hope you had fun here. It was great sharing this, and like I said, kind of awesome to have this collide with the vlog. And I just wanted to point out, if you enjoyed this video, I would absolutely love it if you hit that like button and hit the subscribe so you don't miss any of the others. It's pretty exciting, all the movement that's happening on this channel right now. It's what I've been wanting with this vlog here. And make sure that you are following me on the Facebook channel, and also follow my Substack. That is kind of the newest exciting chapter, because my stories have now gotten much more long form than the paragraph long stories that were here, or whatever Instagram allowed me back then. It's much more long form. You get to really submerge, and I think you'll really enjoy it. I think everyone should be on Substack. You'll really find something for yourself, and based on your interests. And we should read more, and Substack allows you to. And then also sign up to the Inbox Curiosities. Of course, there'll be links in all the descriptions. But if you sign up to the email, then you are plugged into everything. So I'm across different social medias, and I'm trying to get you different deals on different creations that I make. And the Inbox Curiosities will be a great way for you to be in the know on all of that. Well, this sure was fun. And I look forward to the next adventure we're going to have together. In the meantime, you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon, you beautiful haunted romantics.